Hello and welcome back to SpriteGuard Plays HyperRogue. Today we have version 9.3. We have several new lands, and it looks like the world overview has been resized a bit and paged. So let's take a look at what the new lands are and what we need to get to them. And the first one that I see on here is the dungeon, which requires 5 ivory figurines and 5 rubies. So let's go get the ivory figurines, and then let's check out, there's the Lost Mountain, which requires 5 ivory figurines, 5 ruby. Did I click those correctly? For some reason, clicking on the dungeon is getting me the Lost Mountain. I'm not sure what's going on, why I keep getting... Okay, so there's that. Clicking on Ivory Tower gave me the dungeon. And so that requires 5 ivory figurine and 5 HyperRogue, which we can totally do. And then on page 2 we have, let's see, those are all, we have those. I know there was another one, and I just don't remember what it was. And I'm not seeing something that's triggering my memory, and so we may need to just kind of wander around a bit and then look back. Just because I remember there being 3 new lands, 2 of which were gravity lands, the third of which was a kind of weird Escher-esque land involving lizards. And so I'm scanning through this. I'm not... reptiles. There we go. So that's actually unlocked. Just requires 30 treasures and connects inland and aquatic regions. Nope, that's the Warped Coast. Why does clicking on the reptiles give me the word? Okay, so it looks like it's shifted several places, which is frustrating. But yeah, all we need is 30 treasures, so let's try and find that one. It's not a coastal land. So that's probably something that needs to be looked at. I'm not sure why that's happening. But let's see if we can find our way back to land. So that's going to require probably heading out into the open ocean. And let's see, we have a living fjord here. This should be able to get us back to land, though I find the living fjord a little bit difficult to work with, just because it has a lot of kind of branching passages. There's not a lot of places where you can meet up with land. But let's give it a shot, and hopefully we won't encounter any situations where... Kind of the big problem with the living fjord is when you run into a land that is across a fjord from you. And so that's kind of the main reason that I don't like looking for a land in the living fjords. Alright, let's deal with these guys, then pick up that Orb of Flash. And we're going to stick to the land, because that's where we're more likely to find land borders. We do need the rubies. I believe we need the rubies. Let's see. Oh no, we have the rubies. That's fine. Let's refill our flash and actually use it there. And we're just continuing to search for ground, though having 10 treasures in the jungle makes it pretty dangerous. And so we want to keep on a brisk pace, and there actually is a crossroads for us. And there's a reptile right there, though it is across a boundary. This one we also cannot get to. And it looks like... But one nice thing about the crossroads too is that it's still the same land as you go along a wall. So The idea in the reptile is that these reptiles are sleeping, but they can wake up and start moving around. However, if we push them into a chasm, they will go back to sleep. We cannot fight them, we can only put them back to sleep. Now, treasures are dodecahedrons, and they are on islands. It looks like they're not going to be someplace where we can pick them up. Now, I don't know how we wake these guys up. Let's take a look. Reptiles. These reptiles are quite strange creatures. They spend most of their lives sleeping as floors that other creatures can walk on. Sometimes they wake up to hunt their prey, but they will happily go back to sleep if they happen to move into a hole on their way. Your attacks do not kill reptiles, but you can push and stun them. So there's no indication of how we're going to wake these guys up, but here's one right here. Let's see if we can line him up and knock him into the kind of pit that we need. There we go. So there's one, and let's see if we can knock this guy. And it looks like we need to fight this guy off, but we can push him over there. And we definitely do want to deal with these guys as efficiently as we can, because I don't really want to go onto an island where I'm not able to return except by one path. Just because I'm a little bit worried about trapping myself. But it looks like reptiles are now quite active. So let's see. Generally, the rule in HyperRogue is, new achievement, reach reptiles, find and collect a dodecahedron. So generally the rule is that a tunnel is relatively safe. I'm not really, I don't have a sense of whether that's the case here. It seems like the case. So let's see if we can knock these guys into some chasms. Now, there's a risk that that guy would wake up. They do spend most of their lives sleeping. Let's see, knock that. Knock you. Let's see, will this knock you? There we go, knock you into that hole. And then I want to grab that, jump out real quickly. And so now we have 3. So this looks like it's going to be one of those lands that's a bit of a slog. Looks like it could take us quite some time to be able to get ourselves a stockpile of dodecahedrons. And these guys, their spawn rate seems to be a bit faster than the speed at which I can knock them into pits. And so we may want to take a slightly different approach and see if we can lure them into pits. Because if they try and cross a pit while they're trying to get to us, they'll fall asleep on their own. And then I don't see any really good opportunities to bridge to islands, but I think mostly we just want to get rid of these guys at this point. And so it seems like, using clever tactics is going to be a big part of this. Getting them... Oh, no. Oh, no, no, no. No. Okay, so I knew this was going to happen. I did know this was going to happen. We have no orbs. So yeah, that's kind of the risk of updates, is gaming over. But I'm going to restart so we can see the rest of the lands. The next new land we're looking at is the dungeon. This land requires, let's see, 5 ivory figurines and 5 Hypersian rugs. The dungeon is a collaboration of the Great Vizier and the Wizard of the Ivory Tower. And we're actually going to grab this Orb of Matter before we head in, just so we have a little bit of armament, because I am not really familiar with this land. It is a gravity land, and there are skeletons, which luckily fall when they are stunned. We have ghosts, we have switches, and This looks to be a pretty frightening place. And it's not even really clear how to deal with skeletons, except maybe to make them fall. And I'm not even really used to... Let's see, new achievement, reach the dungeon, collect a slime mold. Okay, so slime molds are the treasures here. This orb of flash could be very dangerous, but it could be very useful. There we go, got rid of some skeletons that way. Those things are fast. But apparently they don't attack you? That's odd. Perhaps I should be reading up on these. Let's see. Someone has told you that one can get battle experience safely by killing tons of essentially harmless creatures such as bats. But does this make any sense? It does not. Bats cannot hurt you, but may block your movement or toggle switches if they fall on them. Fast-flying creatures may attack or go against gravity only in their first move. Okay. So there is clearly a lot to learn here. And there's a lot of stuff going on. So we've got these switches that make platforms disappear. Aha! But we can drop skeletons down and they just fall and fall and fall. Now, one thing that I know is that you don't need to escape the dungeon. New achievement, Bat, collects 10 slime molds. You don't need to escape the dungeon in order to get the achievements, but we do need to escape the dungeon if we ever want to do anything else. And I'm not seeing any ladders, which is discouraging. And so, you know, we can kind of spiral around here. So they're not even going to come close to me, it looks like, unless I'm not sure. Yeah, it seems like they don't even really want to come near me. But I think they might trigger switches. It said flying animals can trigger switches. So it's a little bit... I wonder if it's kind of like the Haunted Forest, where you kind of can't get out once you've gone in. Looks like we have to collect that in order to close that. And then we have to open that, which makes us fall down. Let's see, that skeleton will close that door. And then we're going to fall again. So it looks like we need to be a lot more careful if we want to be able to get out of here. Because I'm just not seeing any way to get upwards. And, you know, we can jump, but only like a couple of blocks. There we go. There's a closing plate over there. That'll shut those off, but it won't actually let us get up there. And this opening plate will do us no good. And then that causes us to fall quite a lot farther in. Orb of Recall, that would be useful. We can't get to it, though. I wonder if that's how we're going to get out of here. So there's one. Let's see what that does. When the charges on this orb expire, you will be automatically returned to the place where you have found it. Extra orbs of recall delay this without changing the recall location. Pick up an orb of safety causes an immediate recall. Okay. That's interesting. I don't think that's quite as useful as I was hoping. And we still don't really have a way out of here. The last of the 3 new lands that we're going to be looking at is the Lost Mountain, which forms in the jungle, and we can climb onto bushes. I believe the small bushes break, the large bushes do not, and we have to climb our way up. It's another gravity land, and I believe we have to go rather high before we can reach any treasure, so that could be quite the challenge. It may be possible for us to climb ivies, though these ivy plants are so dangerous that I'm a little bit leery to do so, especially since these gorillas seem quite keen on fighting us. And it looks like, yeah, we can... So we can climb onto bushes. It looks like we can climb up ivies. And so, of course, killing that ivy kind of limits our potential. And then there are also platforms that we can stand on. Now, I don't know where we get the treasures for this land. But I guess we'll just kind of climb around on it until we find something. Let's see. Yeah, so it definitely looks like we can climb up these ivies. And then we just gotta hit them back when they're about to cause trouble. That looks like a treasure over there. Don't know if I can make it over that way, though. That's quite out of the way. So let's rotate around this way. I believe this is a horocyclic land. So we can climb on the bushes. We can't really stand on them. Oh dear, let's see. There we go. Thought I'd gotten stuck because of the gravity. So we can jump up to bushes, and it looks like we can drop down on a treasure here. Let's see, amethyst. New achievement, mountain climber, find and collect an amethyst. That's cool, and it looks like we've got another one in easy reach over here. And then we'll probably have to climb around a little bit longer. I don't actually know if we have to continuously go higher, or if we just have to kind of be deep enough for them to spawn. And let's see, it looks like... appears here, appears here, appears here. It doesn't look like there's anything that increases the spawn rate here. I don't see any monsters that we've killed that increases the spawn rate. It may be that we'll encounter one later, but for now, it seems like we're just going to have to climb around and hope that we see stuff. And we have an eagle after us, but the eagle, it looks like... yes, birds that travel 2 spaces can only defy gravity on their first turn. And so for it to fly up toward us, it had to defy gravity, which means it could only move 1 space at a time. And that gorilla can't reach us because of... oh, it seems to be finding its way to us. Or at least that one is. So, okay, so if we move from a bush to a small bush to a large bush, we can do that. It's only when we jump off of a small bush that we end up actually breaking it. But it looks like that could give us a lot more options for moving around. Alright, we've got 2 eagles after us. That's not a good thing. So now we can climb around on this ivy, use that to reach this amethyst. And then I think I saw another one over this way. Might be a little bit out of reach. And here comes another eagle. So this is another land of kind of slow treasure acquisition where you don't have to set things up as much, but you just have to travel really far to get each treasure, which is kind of fitting with it being part of the jungle. And then, of course, there's the challenge of getting down as well. And so, you know, a future challenge is going to be to try and get out of the dungeon instead of just gathering the treasures there. But for now, I think we've accomplished some good things. New achievement, Mountain Ivy. Collect 10 amethysts. Now, I don't know if the orb for the amethysts, will spawn in this land, or if we need to go out somewhere to find it, and I don't know what the orb for this land is. We can actually check the world overview, Lost Mountain Amethyst, Orb of Nature. This orb turns you into an ivy. Whenever you move, the ivy will grow on your previous cell. You can move through your ivy freely. It will be always rooted in your current position. You can also target a cell adjacent to your ivy, but not to you, to grow or attack. This is a ranged orb. Ranged orbs can be targeted by touching the desired location. You can never target cells which are adjacent to the player character or ones out of the sight range. That's really cool. I hope that we can find that soon. So we're quite high up on this mountain, and I believe dropping down is almost surely going to put us someplace we've never been before. So hopefully we can find an orb. There it is. Let's drop down to that. Boom. You have found the Orb of Nature. And, shift targeting doesn't seem to do it. Ah, there we go. I see. I see. So as we move, we grow our ivy. We can move through our ivy. The ivy is always rooted at us. And, apparently it dies all at once. I'm not really sure how that works. I'm not even really sure why it's dying. Maybe we can right-click on that. Let's see. Always be rooted, adjacent, ranged. Yeah, I don't really understand why it's breaking like that, but we can grow our ivy, we can attack with our ivy. That's all really cool. That's really cool. And so our ivy can even battle other ivy. Wow. That, I think, is one of my favorite orbs now. So, yeah, we have... Oh! So we had a pretty substantial ivy, and then it popped. I'm not sure why it did so. So we can fall our way down to the end of the mountain. Looks like we have a little bit more Orb of Nature in us yet. I wonder if it has to be anchored or something? I wonder if it's interacting with the ground in an odd way. So that's really cool. Those are some really interesting new lands. And I think we're going to be revisiting them. So that's kind of an overview. We're going to be starting a new run with the next episode. So until then, thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.